So we have conflicting points on the profit of James Gunn's Superman. We're going to talk about it on the other side of the intro. Let's go. Okay, reactors, welcome back to the channel, the Nuclear Reactor, the reaction channel where all the reactions go nuclear. Before we get into this video, if y'all are a sports fan, go over to my sports channel, Ring Culture, link in the description. Y'all will love it over here. But back over here playing the Nuclear Reactor, y'all know I believe every action deserves a reaction. And over here, we are very, very reactionary. Make sure y'all like and comment down below. That's how y'all get me in the algorithm. And then I'll go get them. When my content hit them and fit them and sit with them. Subscribe and hit the bell notification so y'all can be notified for every time I upload. And I upload a lot. Make sure y'all hype my page and share my content so we can grow this community over here at Nuclear Reactor. But for now, let's get into the story. So a few days ago, there was an article that came out that Zack Snyder, that James Gunn's Superman was a big profit for WB. Then the article came out saying that they're clarifying that position. But I'm going to read the article saying that it made a ton of money for WB first, and then I'll go to the second one. So let's get into this for a second. Okay, here we go. From that dark place, Forbes says Superman made $100 million of profit after claiming it lost money at the box office. There's spin, and then there's what Forbes just pulled about Superman box office profit. On October 6th, a Forbes contributor analyst by Tim Lammers suggests that James Gunn's Superman failed to make money at the box office in theater. But November 8th, the same outlet published a new piece by Mark Hughes flatly claiming the opposite, that the film generated more than $100 million in profit. Hughes blamed low-quality fan sites that push rumors and clickbait for the rumors that Superman was anything but a massive box office success. The problem? This Superman at the box office failure narrative started on his own site. The numbers don't lie. According to somebody on his own site started the rumor. He's calling them out. Like, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, according to Forbes' own reporting, Superman ended its theatrical run on October 2nd, 2025, after 84 days in release. The film earned $354.2 million domestically, $261.1 million internationally, for a worldwide total of $615.8 million. The same article cited a $225 million production budget and $125 million global marketing budget. There are numbers first reported by Variety that roughly $350 million in total cost before residual interest or studio overhead. An industry analyst repeatedly note studios typically bring home 50% of a global box office receipts after splitting revenue with theaters. That means Warner Brothers would keep approximately $308 million of Superman's total. So while Tim Lammers stopped short of calling the film a flop, his analyst made it clear that Superman lost money at the box office and theaters. Warner Brothers, according to the report, would be depending heavily on digital sales and streaming to make up the difference. Huge victory over his own site. Just a month after Lammers' article, Forbes contributor Mark Hughes published an article titled DCU Endgame, What is James Gunn's Superhero Universe Building Toward? And fired off this gem. There's a lot of mistaken analysts out there about Gunn, the DCU and Superman. He said some websites, mostly on the low quality fan sites that push rumors and clickbait, are trying to spin things as if Superman is some sort of a box office failure and that audience aren't interested. The film generated more than 100 million in profits, had great reviews and audience scores, and did big numbers in theaters and home entertainment. But you can safely ignore it and anyone pushing those false narratives. That paragraph pulled directly from Forbes would be unremarkable if it wasn't for one tiny issue. The mistaken analyst Hughes is denouncing came from his own publication. In fact, the only significant change between the two reports is tone. Hughes' piece doesn't offer any new revenue data or update financial breakdown. It simply declares profitability, scolds dissenters, and move on. So they're basically scolding us, but never giving us any real new numbers or info to go by, basically what he's saying. The math was the message. If Hughes had inside numbers from Warner Brothers Discovery proving the movie turned a profit, he doesn't share them. There's no mention of how much Superman made on the home entertainment digital sales or streaming rights, nor any citation for the claim of more than 100 million in profit. Instead, he leans into broad generalizations about great reviews, strong home audience numbers, and approaching 150 million globally when it's all said and done. That phrasing is a red flag. It moves the goalposts from verifiable box office data to vague, all-inclusive totals that lump together digital rentals, video on demand purchases, and potential future revenues, all without transparency or sourcing. In short, Hughes substitute assertion for evidence. Forbes versus Forbes. The irony is rich. October 6th, Forbes was a source for fan sites and financial analysts dissecting Warner Brothers' troubled theater economics. By November 8th, Forbes become the target of his own contributors' accusations of clickbait spin. Either Superman lost money in theaters and Forbes was correct the first time, or it made over 100 million in profit and Hughes just forgot to show receipts. Both can be true. If the latter was accurate, Warner Brothers would be shouting it from the rooftop. Instead, studio executives have remained quiet, leaving fans and analysts to piece together the truth from scattered public data and the contradictory coverage of one of America's top financial outlets. Why it matters. This isn't just about a superhero movie. It's about media credibility. When two writers under the same Forbes banner publish opposite financial conclusions about the same film within a month, it raises serious questions about editorial consistency, sourcing, and oversight. It's a striking lack of all three from Forbes, where writers like Caroline Reed offer up well-sourced, expertly delivered analysts, while Reed and Lammer offer hard numbers and break down the math. Hughes merely attempted to frame all criticism of Superman as fan site rumors. It's a direct insult to the audience who've learned to spot studio approval spin. You can't dismiss hard numbers as clickbait when they come from your own newsroom. Until Warner Brothers Discovery opens the book of Forbes provides a documentation to support Hughes' claim, the safest conclusion is that Superman theatrical run underperformed and the profit narrative is marketing spin. For now, it looks like the Superman box office story is less about numbers and more about which version of reality certain Forbes writers want to sell this week. All right, so that wasn't the article where it said that Superman made profits. It was just an article from the Dark Place citing the inconsistencies of the report that Superman made a profit. But now I want to read an article to y'all that says that new reports clarify Superman's profit for WB, and it's shocking. Here we go. And this is from CRP. Expectations were high when James Gunn rebooted the DCEU universe for Superman earlier this year, but the film has continued to soar higher than anyone could have imagined. New data reveals the shocking extent of just how profitable the movie has become for Warner Brothers DC Studios. Forbes reported a new data on Superman remarkable success, revealing that it will have generated more than $100 million in profit, approaching $150 million globally by the end of the year. The film success is more undeniable now than ever before, especially in comparison with previous DC superhero theatrical releases. Its box office score were at least 40% higher than any of the previous non-DCEU movies from the last 8 years. And it also beat out DC competitors, ranking in more money than all three Marvel recent releases, including the Fantastic Four First Steps. For the public, Superman arrival in theaters was the beginning of a new era of DC, with David Corenswet largely being praised in his performance as the Man of Steel. The film released at the first part. The film released as the first part of James Gunn's large-scale plan, dubbed Gods and Monsters, grossed over $616 million worldwide and has enjoyed similar success since it arrived on streaming and digital. Gunn's Superman gave fans a stark contrast to previous movies in the old DCEU. It featured bright colors and uplifting message, and a fun story. The DCEU had uplifting messages as well. I don't know why he's saying that. A matter of fact, Superman arc in the DCEU was beautiful to me. But, which ended up being quite different from what fans got with Henry Cavill's portrayal of the character in Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman doing the justice. This new upbeat outlook on Superman performed well with audience. Some dedicated DC fans weren't immediately sold on the DCU new direction. Nevertheless, the massive $150 million profit indicates that the DCU future is brighter now than ever, and fans who were hoping for a return of the darker side of DC might be in for a rude awakening should Warner Brothers continue to follow the formula that made Superman such a worldwide phenomenon. A sequel, Man of Tomorrow, has already been confirmed for 2027, and Gunn himself has teased it. The DCEU had darker tone movies. There's nothing inherently wrong with a darker tone movie. The Dark Knight, which is my favorite trilogy of all time, those was all dark. But the Superman that we got in Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman is a Superman that hasn't been Superman for really a long time. And in the social media age where people trash on you in some instances for just seemingly nothing. Also, there are going to be people that fear a godlike being, and some people are going to worship him. And I thought that Batman versus Superman, especially your Ultimate Edition, did a good job of highlighting that. But when you look at Zack Snyder's Justice League, you'll see just how impressive Superman arc and Batman arc was. As Gunn's new DC universe gets off to a running start. It appears that Warner Brothers has full faith in the soft reboot direction following Superman immediate box office success earlier this year. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav teased big plans for the future. Superman is just the first step. Over the next year alone, DC Studios will introduce the film Supergirl and Clayface in theaters and the series Lantern on HBO Max, all part of a bold 10-year plan. The DCU currently has numerous other projects in various stages of development at this time. That includes a Swamp Thing feature film, a currently untitled Wonder Woman movie, as well as a Batman project titled Batman: A Brave and the Bold. Supergirl will be the next film to actually hit theaters, arriving on June 26, 2026, followed by Clayface on September 11th and Man of Tomorrow on July 9th, 2027. None of the other projects have confirmed release dates at the time. So yeah, it's just conflicting reports on how much money it made. I don't know if this is media spin or not, but one thing I do know is that Superman theatrical run was cut short because it wasn't making a profit in theaters. So this article is saying that it could make $150 million by the end of the year. So I mean, it's just conflicting reports. But maybe it is successful. I don't know. I know it lost 42 million, but this thing is saying that it didn't. So I don't really know. There are other guys who did, who broke the numbers down on this. The 4KO did. I think Harsh Critic did. Whatever it is, if it's a success, the studio is just going to keep going along with the universe. It's funny though that the DCEU, which I'm attached to, would get crucified for pitting up numbers that the James Gunn Superman put up. Because I remember all I kept hearing about Batman versus Superman that made almost 900 million said that it has Batman. A lot of people were saying it has Batman and Superman in it. It should have made $1 billion. That's not how it works. Just because you have a known product doesn't mean it's automatically going to make $1 billion. You actually have to have a good material to go with it. And I believe Batman versus Superman was good material, but the one that they released in the theater was only good material. They left out so many crucial parts that Batman versus Superman, the Ultimate Edition, put in to make the movie make more sense. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just trot out a Batman movie or a Superman movie and expect it just to make $1 billion. That's not how it works. So, but now people are accepting 616 million to be a hit. Make that make sense. But anyway, my reactors, let me know what y'all think down below. Do y'all think that this is just studio spin, cope, or did Superman actually make this kind of money? Let me know down below. And always remember, the pleasure all mine, the reporting all yours. I love y'all. Peace.